Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much. Now, of course, most of you know Kathy and I live in sunny South Florida, not too far from the home of the president, Mar-a-Lago. And even though it's freezing and snowing for many of you, it is sunny and beautiful in Florida. And
very nice today.
And we have actually left our podcast studio and are sitting on our back porch, podcasting from our back porch, entertaining the neighbors. So there's a lot to cover. Sorry, guys, it's Florida. And you know what? It was sunny here before Ron DeSantis was governor, even though he thinks that Florida was nothing till he was governor. A lot's going on, and we're going to cover a lot of things. I want to start with this because I just saw this on X today, and it's Vivek Ramaswamy. And Ramaswamy is now apparently getting into the endorsement of candidates.
Yes, he's in the endorsement business.
And he posted on X today, he said, this is Ramaswamy, he says, "I'm honored by the influx of endorsement requests, but let's be honest, most endorsements are meaningless. So here's what we're going to do. Any candidate who I'm endorsed in this cycle will make a hard commitment to the following principles." And then there's a very long list of things. And there's nothing there that I saw that any MAGA person would disagree with. I agree with all of it. You know, I keep getting a lot of messages from people telling me, you know, Brian, you're going to eat your words. You know, Trump's going to pick Vivek Ramaswamy.
You might.
And
I told you that a few weeks ago.
This is what I've said about this entire election. Okay, I've said this part for years. Okay, I have said this for years now since Trump came down the escalator.
Yeah.
I will never criticize Donald Trump, and I will never disagree with Donald Trump.
That's true.
Donald Trump has not picked Vivek Ramaswamy to be his running mate right now, okay? He may, and if he does, I'm going to support Ramaswamy because Trump supports him.
When I saw him walk in, I had tweeted that video, and I sent it to you, of him walking into Mar-a-Lago with him last weekend. They had some big event. And when I saw him walk in those big doors with him, Melania, Vivek, and Vivek's wife, the four of them, only the four of them, I said to you, that's who he's going to pick.
Looked like his vice.
It was total foreshadowing to me. Why, of all the people there, did he walk in with Vivek and his wife? And like they were walking into the White House together.
At that event,
to me, tells me that's who he's choosing.
At that event last weekend at Mar-a-Lago, all the big MAGA Republicans were there, too.
They were all there.
So, and he picked him.
And his wife,
and
Melania, to walk in together as a group.
So,
to me, that was definitely telling.
I'm not going to eat my words. I am going to do whatever Trump says to do. I'm going to support whatever Trump does. Okay? And the second he picks Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm going to be on the Vivek Ramaswamy train. Okay?
Okay.
So all of you guys out there who are giving me grief about this, you have never heard me disagree or criticize Trump, and it'll never happen.
Just say you're going to eat your words, and with a side of salt or something.
No, listen. Donald Trump in this election, the elections. I know it seems close, but there's going to be a lot of things that happen between now and November, and President Trump is going to do things. He's going to support people. He's going to bring people into the fold that a lot of people that are MAGA like us may not normally like.
Do that many people like Vivek that he's endorsing people now? I mean, he's never held office.
He's a celebrity, so they want a celebrity at their event. It turns people out, and people want to meet him. But there are going to be a lot of people that President Trump brings around that you may not like, that I may not like. If Trump brings them in the fold, we got to like him. You know, this is not some regular campaign. This campaign of Donald Trump to have his second and non-consecutive term is a campaign to not just save America, but to save Western civilization. If we don't have Trump back, we lose the country, we lose Western civilization, we lose everything. And Donald Trump knows more about everything that's going on than any of us know. And he's got a plan, and he's going to make deals and do all kinds of things.
And I think he wants somebody who's young, energetic, who can get people. I know you've said before that Trump wouldn't want somebody that outshined him. I don't agree with that. I think he's kind of beyond that at his point in his life. And he is not going to be successful if he cannot pass the torch to somebody who can continue. I'm sure he is thinking about that. that he really cares about the country. He really wants to help and make changes, like you said. But he saw how things got reversed so easily on day one, and it's so much worse.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is thinking, I need somebody in here who's popular, who's energetic, who's got energy, who's young, and who's going to get people excited. Somebody, because, Trump likes charisma. He likes people that have I don't know why maybe he chose Mike Pence for that reason, because he was anti-charisma, and maybe now his thinking is differently.
Well,
like, I need somebody with charisma.
When Trump and Melania walked in to Mar-a-Lago over the weekend, and Vivek Ramaswamy and his wife are behind them.
Yeah.
Vivek and his wife didn't outshine Trump or Melania at all. They
didn't.
They look like second string players, like you're supposed to look in that position.
It looked like a VP and his wife to me.
It did.
Honestly, that's what it looked like.
And there were like Ted Cruz was there, Mike Lindell was there. There were a lot of other big Republicans that were there, and he chose them to come into the grand entrance. And you can go on Instagram and look at the party that was at Mar-a-Lago that day. The most famous MAGA people in the country
was there.
were
there were celebrities there.
And
it was
he
big.
picked Vivek as so so nobody's eating any words. It's just when Trump makes a decision, we're going to go along with it. And if you notice, I haven't been critical of Ramaswamy like I was, because Trump has brought him in the orbit. Now, it could simply be not that he's going to pick him to be his vice president, but he's so popular with young people that he wants to help him bring in the youth vote. When I went to Turning Point USA in Palm Beach, and I was in the room with Charlie Kirk and President Trump. Okay, I was in the room with the two of them, and you can tell with President Trump, I've seen him with two guys that you can tell President Trump's body language and personality and everything is looser, that they're like really his friends.
Right.
Charlie Kirk and Brian from Right Side Broadcasting. And because he's dating Marjorie Taylor Greene. So Charlie Kirk is really tight with Vivek.
Right, exactly.
And Charlie Kirk is doing amazing work getting high school students.
With the college kids.
A lot of high school students are going to be old enough to vote in November, right?
When I watched his last rally in South Carolina last week or whatever, everybody behind him was under 25.
That's Charlie Kirk.
And they showed the crowd, and you have to go on TikTok to see this and follow Dan Scavino. And when Trump talks about the big crowds outside, he's not kidding. Dan Scavino went outside and drove down the street. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people outside that rally, and the rally inside was big. There were probably 10,000 people inside. Outside, there were another 10, 20,000, maybe more. And I looked in the crowd, and usually it's older people, but it was a lot of college kids, young people, and I think you're right. I think Vivek is bringing in those young people. For sure. Trump sees that. And I think he is thinking about that with the VP and with his legacy. And
he hasn't
Charlie
picked him to be VP yet.
I think he has. And then Charlie Kirk, for sure, is influencing them. I mean, these are millennials. He's probably convincing him, you got to get a younger guy in here, somebody that's going to bring in the younger kids. Yeah. And he's full of energy. He agrees with you on everything. And this is the guy you need to bring in. Yeah. So he's a businessman, and Yeah. So I'm not worried about it. If Trump picks Vivek, Vivek's okay. That's the way it is. Trust
okay.
Trump.
Yeah. You gotta trust Trump, because he knows what he's got to do and what deals he's got to make to walk into this election. You can't assume anything. He's got to do a lot of things, and the young vote has always been monopolized by the Democrats, and they've lost it in large part.
And the minority vote.
They've lost the young vote mainly because, Trump is cool and they like that, But
they do.
But Charlie Kirk has been doing work not just in colleges but high schools, and the last few years that Charlie Kirk has been working in high schools, a lot of even kids that are currently in high school right now, a lot of them are going to be old enough to vote in November.
He sure as hell is a lot cooler than Biden.
Well,
Biden's just a disaster.
When I went to the Turning Point, I got a whole new appreciation for. I like Charlie Kirk, but I didn't really appreciate exactly what he does.
Right.
And what I noticed about the kids that were there, because it was all high school and college. I was invited like a media person, and they were the cool kids. And it used to be you've heard me use this description before. There always were young Republicans, but they were always dorks. They were like Ben Shapiro, like penny loafers and blue blazers, like Ben Shapiro,
like Tucker Carlson used to be.
Dressed like Tucker Carlson, but they're like 17 and they're dorks, and the cool kids are the MAGA Republicans in high school and college now, right? And that's because of Charlie Kirk, and it's pretty important, like that that MTV Rock the Vote stuff that used to be around when we were young. That was all Democrat, right? It's not that way anymore because of Charlie Kirk.
In fact, I don't.
And Trump appreciates that.
The people that Biden is now on TikTok. He's just on TikTok. Good luck. The young people he has enlisted to help him have all been strange. Biden, he's not hitting it with the young people. They're definitely not. They're definitely like people that you would consider strange, or like they had one guy that was in the White House, gave a tour. Remember, he was wearing long nails and high heels, and talked to Jen Psaki. I mean, that's who Biden's getting, because they're always reaching out to people like
Weirdos.
that, and but he has not hit his stride with the young voters at all. In fact, it's getting worse.
Biden,
yeah, and I think you're right. I think Charlie Kirk
and Ramaswamy
under the radar of the media, because I see when Trump first ran, he used the media to help him, obviously, and they were willing to do it because they didn't think he could beat Hillary. But now the media has kind of rejected him a lot, so he has had to find other ways, and I think he has learned, and I could be wrong, but I think he has learned that going under the radar of the media is actually better. And I think all this happening with Kirk and Vivek and bringing in the youth vote is happening without the media really catching on or seeing what's really going on.
That's right.
And I think they're going to be very surprised. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to be very surprised at how many young people do vote for him.
What's going to happen is...
They got to get the numbers.
This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen, guys. And this is where Vivek could be coming in handy.
Yeah.
When we get past the summer, the primaries will be over, and after the summer, there's going to be multiple rallies every day of the week, right? But there's also going to be events where Trump is not at college campuses and things like this. And Charlie Kirk, I see Charlie Kirk going to high schools, talking to high school seniors and college campuses around the country.
Yeah,
getting
for sure.
Getting young people to vote for Trump, and that's a role that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to play.
The two of them together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's kind of like he's what Candace Owens used to be before she betrayed Trump and came out as being anti-Trump when she did that nasty rant last year. So all of you that are being critical, I'm not disagreeing with Trump. Trump has not picked Ramaswamy to be his vice president.
Are you admitting you were wrong about Vivek, that he is not a Soros plant?
I don't know.
I don't think he is.
I don't know.
You do.
But if Trump picks him, okay, if Trump picks him to be his vice president, see, picking him to be vice president is different than having him campaign for him. Okay, you can get anybody to campaign for you. If Trump picks Vivek to be his vice president,
right,
I will assume that President Trump did all kinds of vetting, and vetting isn't a Google search or talking to Vivek. I'm talking about like background check, and that if Trump picks Vivek to be his vice president, I will take that as a confirmation that he is not a Soros agent. Yes, I don't think Trump would pick a George Soros agent to be his vice president. Now, that doesn't mean that he wouldn't use him because of his popularity with youth to go and campaign, but picking him for vice president means he's pretty much endorsing him to be president in 2028.
Trump has a very different mindset than the first two times he ran.
Oh, yes.
The first two times he ran, especially the first time, he was very naive to how nasty politics was. And he had known all these people. He had been friendly with all these people. He knew all the politicians. They were his friends. I mean, they went to his wedding.
Yep.
He knew all the people in the media. He really was shocked, and I think a lot of people, how cruel they were to him. You have to understand the media, okay? They're soulless people. I don't like Biden, but when he gave his last press conference, and I saw they showed the media there questioning him, which were half Asian, by the way, which was interesting. They are like rabid
His Chinese handlers.
They were rabid dogs. Other than Peter Ducey, who's the only one who seems normal. When they ask a question, you got like 40 people at once, and it's frightening. And I don't like Biden or anything like that. And he should do more press conferences, but the press are not your friend. And I think Trump was. They are soulless people that have no loyalty to anybody other than themselves and advancing their own careers. And I think Trump was really shocked, and he spent the first term trying to win them back. And I think this time he doesn't give a damn what they think, and he realizes.
You don't hear him talk about the media,
never.
really.
Thank God. No. And I used to say he's got to stop obsessing over the media
and
so much.
There won't be these 2.5-hour press conferences.
He's not going to have the relationship with them like he did before.
Now, if you would like to support this program and all my content, which is the podcast, the radio show, my YouTube channel, go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Free shipping site-wide. No matter what you purchase at mypillow.com, it is free shipping, no matter how large, no matter how small. Mike Lindell just launched a whole bunch of new, major, deeply discounted specials on top MyPillow products. So not only do you get free shipping, you get the special site-wide. I'll just mention one or two real quick. The MyPillow mattress topper. Now, this depends on which mattress topper you get. They're all discounted. But as much as 50% off, okay? As much as 50% off. That's huge. Plus, you get the free shipping. And free shipping, depending on, how big the item is.
That's huge.
It's a big savings anyway, but on some of the larger items, like the mattress topper, things like that, it's a massive saving. So it's free shipping site-wide on everything with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. All right? Okay, we're going to take our first break. When we get back, there's so much more to talk about. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
In today's world, being secure and safeguarding yourself, your home, your business, and most importantly, your family is more important than ever. District 35 Security and Investigations is your trusted partner when it comes to comprehensive crime prevention and investigative services. Founded in 2017 by the Taylor family and rooted in 40 years of experience, District 35 Security and Investigations are dedicated to offering tailored solutions that meet your unique needs. They specialize in both civil and criminal investigations. Their team employs extensive expertise and cutting-edge resources to deliver thorough, meticulous investigative solutions. They also provide a diverse range of security services, including risk assessment, security consulting, and specialized training programs that are all designed to enhance your safety and your peace of mind. They've played a pivotal role in deterring crime, safeguarding properties, and instilling a sense of security with their clients. District 35 Security and Investigations is licensed to operate in all 254 Texas counties. Whether you're seeking to protect your family, your business, or your property, their team is here to offer the peace of mind that you deserve. Take charge of your security and contact them right now online at district35-securityinvestigations-llc.us or call them directly 512-216-6211. That's 512-216-6211. District 35 Security and Investigations. Your safety is their mission. Podcast listeners, are you looking for a fresh new podcast? Then add Journeyman Commentator to your podcast playlist right now. Hosted by the hilariously insightful Andrew Self. Journeyman Commentator is a twist on sports podcast. Andrew covers the world of English soccer with wit and humor that's simply unmatched. You'll be hooked from the very first episode. Andrew shares his thoughts and the hilarious stories about his travels to and from the matches. Each episode is a blend of sports, laughter, and unforgettable commentary. Journeyman Commentator is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcast. It's perfect to listen to on your way to or home from work. Share the podcast on all your social media so your friends can add Journeyman Commentator to their playlist too. Journeyman Commentator with host Andrew Self. Start listening right now. It's time to get your life organized and do it in a fun and colorful way with Boxia World on Etsy. That's BOXIA. At Boxia World on Etsy, you'll find a huge array of colorful and functional storage boxes that are tailored to meet all your organizational needs. Everything is crafted from high-quality fabric. These boxes seamlessly complement your calyx set, infusing your space with a delightful splash of color. They're perfect to organize your kids' room, your office, your classroom, or any space that you want to organize. From dark green and rich pink to lively orange, you'll find a huge selection of colors and shades at Boxia World on Etsy. Go to the shop right now at boxiaworld.etsy.com. That's BOXIA. boxiaworld.etsy.com. Make sure to use the promo code RADIO. boxiaworld.etsy.com. Boxia World on Etsy. Your world in vivid colors.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. You may hear noises of birds in the background. We are broadcasting on our back porch. In Florida, we have a screened-in back porch. The weather is beautiful.
It's like a Florida room, or no?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We call these Florida rooms.
Florida rooms.
Alexa, what's the temperature?
79.
79 degrees, so it's cooled off a little bit. It was...
But there's no humidity. It's nice out. Like if you get into May or June and it's 79, it's a lot hotter because there's more humidity. There's no humidity today. It's like really low. It's breezy. It's beautiful out.
And of course, since we are in Florida, all the birds come south for the winter. So you'll hear a lot of birds in the background, perhaps during the podcast, and it's just nice.
Which Luna loves. She loves to sit out here and watch the birds.
Okay, so what's going on at the southern border? The people crossing the border are from countries all over the world: the Caribbean, Africa, all the countries around the world. They're not just from Latin America, even though they say they're climate refugees from Latin America. And I've been telling you guys for weeks and weeks and weeks that, the large number of illegals that are coming here, it's thousands a day, over 4.6 million a year since Biden's been in the White House. It's much more than that. That's the government's number, right? Yeah. So, that's a very conservative number. And what I've been telling you guys for the last few weeks as we've been talking about this is that this is a modern day slave trade. It is labor slavery. It is sex slavery. It's also drug trafficking, but it's a slave trade, a slave passage that's going on across our southern border from Latin America, just like the one on board ships of African slaves from Africa to the New World back in that time. This is a modern day, and it's really frightening when you think about it because, when we look back at the age of slavery, it's hard to imagine that things like that actually existed, that there was slavery in our country. And we all look at that and we say to ourselves, how could that have been? How could people have accepted that? And here we are in 2024, and we have this modern day slave passage that's going on, human trafficking. It's not typically called slavery. It's called human trafficking and forced labor, things like this. And there's a story that has been circulating. It's from the local news from a TV station out of Boston. And what's going on in a lot of these liberal cities, Boston, New York, and other liberal cities where illegals are being transported, people are actually signing up online to become like foster families for illegals. I saw one family over the weekend that was being reported on. They went online, filled out the application, and within 10 minutes, the phone rang from the immigration people that they had a family they wanted to bring over. So
Let me tell you, though, before you get into that kind of stuff, I know they think their heart's in the right place, but that's going to wear off.
It's dangerous.
You bring a whole family into your home with kids.
People. They may not even be a family.
Believe me, after a week, you're going to want them out. It's just too disruptive to your life.
And how do you know that they're really a family, not just pretending?
This is a big mess.
You have no idea who these people are, and they could rob you blind. But anyway, this local station up in Boston did a story on a family that brought in Haitian illegals.
I was thinking it was just one woman that brought them in.
No, the one woman brought them in, but there's two that they have. It's a man and a woman. And listen to this. This is insane. This is out of Boston.
Yeah, it is.
Story you'll only see here on NBC 10 Boston.
Hold on, guys. I got to turn up the volume on it a little bit. Hold on.
Yeah, this is really crazy.
This is nuts.
Boston area, and then recently found a host home in Brookline. And now they're looking for jobs. As NBC 10's Aaron Logan reports, they say these last few weeks have been life-changing.
And it's been an emotional few weeks for Wildande Joseph and her husband. First, sleeping on the floor at Logan Airport, then in Children's Hospital with their 2-year-old daughter who got very sick.
Me siento mal. Es muy difícil este tiempo.
She felt bad, as any mother would. Now things are looking much brighter as they've been welcomed into Lisa Hillenbrand's Brookline apartment.
Okay, now...
See, I think it's just a single woman.
No, a single woman brought in the husband, wife, and the kid.
But she lives alone. It's one woman that brought in these people.
Yeah, exactly. But she brought in a woman and her husband, and they got a kid. So this white liberal woman in Boston has brought this family of illegals into her home.
Tu niña es muy alegre ahora.
Sí, muy alegre. Cuando se levanta en la mañana, se dice, "Ay, Lisa."
She says her daughter is very happy. When she wakes up in the morning, she says, "Hi, Lisa," and everyone starts the day smiling.
It's a delight, and it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking.
¿Te gusta la ocupación?
Okay, so what this white liberal woman in Boston has done...
This is crazy.
And they're Haitian illegals, so they're black. And Haitians are all descendants of slaves, by the way. This white liberal woman in Boston has moved slaves into her home.
It's incredible.
They're cooking, they're cleaning. Oh, it's so wonderful. I've got, these house slaves is what she's saying.
Unbelievable.
In fact, her goal is to open up her own restaurant. The couple has their work permits and they've been taking English classes.
Yo cualquier trabajo a hacer para guardar mi dinero para hacer mi futuro.
They're open to work anywhere to save money for their future. In the meantime, they're enjoying their time with Lisa, their new friend for life, and their daughter's new grandmother.
Se abuela mi niña.
They are hardworking. They want to learn. They want to be successful. And I feel great helping, and I get to understand the refugee crisis from the inside.
Lisa says she's so impressed by the number of people she's met right here at Brookline Town Hall meetings who've been stepping up and hosting families. She's hopeful more will do the same in the coming days and weeks.
Okay, so her friends and family and everybody she knows in the area, they're getting their own house slaves. This is what these people...
I couldn't believe this story when I saw it. And they actually think this is the great white liberal hope. Remember that one Spanish guy said, "Thank you, white liberal savior"?
Yeah.
This is how liberals are in a nutshell. They have not changed in 400 years. The Democrats, or however long the party's been around, 200 years, whatever, 300 years. They feel that they are better than people of color.
Yeah.
They feel that they need to help people of color. It makes them feel important. I promise you, slave owners thought they were helping their slaves too.
Oh, they did.
They thought they were helping them and giving them a better life than they had in Africa.
Go back and read stuff from the time. And what this is, it's a mix between slavery and indentured servitude, which is another form of slavery.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be cleaning her house.
They
and
are.
Cooking for her and everything.
They're cooking and cleaning, and she's going to hold this promise of the restaurant over their head for as long as she can to keep these people in her house, cooking for her and cleaning for her. This is the most racist thing that I've seen.
I'd love for a follow-up story in 6 months.
The woman may be dead in 6 months.
No, I promise you she'll throw them out by then.
You think so?
Or something will happen. Everything's nice and rosy now because they've been there a week.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm sure she thinks her heart's in the right place, and she's just a wonderful person in saving these people.
She's not a wonderful person.
Which is strange that they speak Spanish. I thought Haitians spoke a type of French. I mean, all the Haitians down here speak French, and I've met a lot of them. It's weird that they speak Spanish anyway. But this, to me, when I saw this story on X and I retweeted it, the first thought I had is, this is like she has a slave. This woman's cooking for her. She's going to be clean. Now, look. I'm sure people move in with other people and they might help them around the house in lieu of paying rent. I'm sure that happens. Like, handyman might say, look, let me rent a room and instead of paying rent, I'll fix up your house. I understand that. But I just feel like this is different to me. It is. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
This just feels strange.
See, these are different. Okay.
How is this a different scenario? If she's giving them free room and board, shouldn't they be cleaning and cooking for her? I don't know.
People do things like that, but these are people that are illegal immigrants,
right.
Okay? They have no contact in this country. They have no family. They have no...
It's insane.
They have no connections in this country. They don't speak the language. And when you're in a country and you don't speak the language, you have no money, you have no family or contacts or friends,
right.
And then you're in this white liberal woman in Boston's house cooking, cleaning, and being her slave. You've got nowhere. It's not really a mutual agreement.
Well, Haiti
survival.
Is not a good place to live.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm sure they're enjoying a better life here. America's better than most of these. Third world countries, obviously, depending on which part of
not better than
in San Francisco.
It depends on who you're. If you talk to Tucker, Russia's better.
Yeah, but
or safer.
But and I'm glad she's giving them a home, and the daughter's happy, and all this, and maybe things will work out. But I don't know. I mean, are we wrong here?
No,
it just feels strange.
It's very strange.
If this refugee was white, would we still feel the same way, or is it because it's a white woman with this black family and they're doing cooking for her? I don't know. I'm kind of.
You mean like if it was like
this.
if it was like a Russian illegals?
Right? Would you feel differently? Honestly, would you feel differently? But because of the history of slavery in this country, the fact that they're descendants of slave, does that make it seem a little stranger to you?
No, these are people that are trapped. If it was a white, like a Russian illegal, it'd be a similar thing. Yeah, it'd be the same.
I mean, it just seems weird to me.
And you're right. As crazy as this sounds, okay, slave owners did think they were helping the slaves.
Oh, sure. I'm
like
sure
this
they
woman
did. Yeah, I'm sure they thought that they were giving them a better life.
And what the slave owners have in common with this woman is that they're Democrats. Slave owners were Democrats. This woman's a Democrat.
The difference is, I think, like you said, but these people, can they leave if they want to?
They got no money.
Right.
Where
so
they
are
go?
Kind of trapped.
They don't speak the language.
If you have a guy who's living in a home, renting a room in exchange for work, he can leave.
He speaks
anytime.
English.
He can get in his car and go get a job and he has freedom. Here, you're right. The difference is they're here. They have nowhere to go.
They're trapped, and they don't know the language.
I would love a follow-up of this family. I hope it works out because the daughter, she said her little daughter's very happy.
The way the woman's talking.
But moving a family into your home is a lot.
This white liberal woman in Boston, she's acting like they're her pets.
Well, that's how liberals treat
and she's
blacks.
showing them off.
I've always said that.
And I think that the entire story is so racist. And
it is. Showing them off like she's so proud. That's how these liberals are.
This local news station didn't recognize what the real story was because they're liberal too, and they didn't see it. Right? I mean, this is crazy.
I just can't believe, when I watched the Super Bowl and we watched that press conference with that shooter at Joel Osteen's church when they actually investigated his pronouns to make sure they got it right. I just can't believe the world. But I remember I told you this. My grandma, when she was old, she died at 89. And about a year before she died, she said to me, I don't even recognize this world anymore. She grew up, she was born in 1913 or 1908. And she said, I don't recognize this world. This isn't the world I grew up in. That's how I feel now. I guess that's the way it is. Because she said, I'm ready to go. She said, I just don't like it anymore.
It's interesting you say that about your grandmother. I mean, our grandparents, this preferred pronoun thing, they wouldn't get it. I mean, And I remember my grandfather when I was a kid, and he would see those Harrier jump jets, the jet planes that could take off without a runway and just go up and down. he couldn't hardly believe that it was possible. And there's a woman who's an elderly lady. She's 90 years old, and she was just fired by the National MS Society. They said she wasn't inclusive enough because she wasn't doing the preferred pronoun thing. And the woman's 90. She didn't know what it meant. And she gave an interview. I saw this on LeeZep TikTok, and it fits into what you were just saying, Kathy. Listen to this.
I was confused. I didn't know what it was, what it meant. And I'd seen it on a couple of letters that had come in after the person's name. They had the pronouns, but I didn't know what that meant. And so finally, when I was talking to her, I thought, I'll ask, what does it mean? And
what she asked is, what do the preferred pronouns, what does that mean? She didn't understand what it meant. She's 90.
Let her tell me. And so she said it meant that they were all inclusive, which didn't make sense to me because it sounds like you're labeling for females and not males if you're just putting in she, her.
She said that she was just asking her what it meant to have a conversation. So as a 90-year-old who didn't know what it meant, she's not street savvy to find out what it meant. Yeah. And when she said that they were required to use it to be inclusive, and my mom was saying that we've always been, the MS Society as a whole and the Long Beach group has just always been inclusive.
A few days later, it was on a Friday, was it 4:58?
At 4:58, which we thought was odd, but anyway.
At the end of the day, end of the week, I got an email from her saying that they were sorry, but they had to ask me to step down as a volunteer.
Okay, now, again, and this is an interesting thing because the LeeZep TikTok girl, she actually interviewed this woman. She's doing interviews now with people, not just posting stuff. She's actually doing interviews, which and she does very good interviews. You notice she's not talking; she's letting the person tell their story, like Tucker with Putin. That's how I like to do interviews. When I do interviews, I ask a question and let them talk. You guys hear me all the time, right?
It's interesting though. She said they called her at 4:58 on Friday. That wasn't on accident. They called her right before they were closing on purpose, so
she couldn't get a hold of anybody.
They could end the conversation quickly, and she couldn't let it sink in and call back. And then the weekend happened, and boom.
And the 90-year-old lady, it's not that she's homophobic or transphobic or anything. She just did not understand all this new lingo, all inclusive and preferred pronouns. She didn't know what it meant.
Well, there's a lot of elder. There's a lot of, what do they call it?
Elder hate from young
but
people.
What's that
abuse?
Term? Not abuse, but there's a term for it.
I don't know.
When you don't like old people. It's just slipping my mind.
A lot of young people don't.
And a lot of young people are in that mindset, and they just probably saw her as too old and wanted her out anyway, and they set her up.
Yeah.
For the MS Society.
And the reason being is that you're not inclusive enough.
The verbiage she said was that she didn't abide by their diversity, equity, and inclusion, so they have to ask her to step down, and she can't be a part of the MS Society as a volunteer, which to me is ironic because they're saying they're being inclusive, but yet they're excluding a 90-year-old disabled woman who volunteers for over 60 years.
Oh my God!
And literally the sole purpose is to help the MS patients and find a cure, and
that's what we're there for.
Keep helping with volunteering as much as she can, which has literally been her whole life.
This is a woman who volunteers. She's not even on the payroll. I thought she was an employee.
No, she's been
that is awful.
She's been a volunteer with the National MS Society.
Oh my God!
For 60 years.
I got to tell my best friend she has MS. I wonder if she knew about this.
This
that
is
insane.
Yeah, and I'm glad LeeZep TikTok is doing interviews
volunteers?
Millennials and Gen Zers. Yeah,
especially there's no respect for the older people.
Yeah, but there is so much hatred towards older people from Gen Zers and millennials. First time I saw it was with the Parkland kids when they would debate. They were debating people. And they would say, well, our opinion matters more than yours because we're going to be alive after you're dead because you're older than us. Well, during this podcast, how many babies have been born? So should we let their opinions reign? But this story here with this lady, I hope this gets picked up nationally. It may not because the media aren't going to want to pick up a national story that LeeZep TikTok broke. But that's a very disgusting story.
What you have here is, we were taught to respect our elders. And I certainly did. I mean, I never talked back to my grandparents. And let me tell you, if I did, I would have been in so much trouble. I never talked back to my parents growing up. I was afraid of my parents. I mean, my parents loved me, but there was a fear that I did not want to upset them, okay? Maybe I talked back to my mother a little bit, but anyway. What you have here, this Travis Kelce guy at the Super Bowl is a perfect example of what these young people, what they're like. When he and I don't care what the coach says, they're afraid of the Taylor Swift fans, so they're going to never say anything negative. When he shoved his coach, who's 65 years old,
he yelled at him and
screamed in his face,
knocked the pad out of his hand. The clipboard.
It was all over Twitter, right? The coach, that is a pure example of not respecting your elders right there. And the coach came out and excused it and said it was no big deal. This is the way society is now. There's no respect for the elderly, for authority.
It's abuse.
He should have been benched. He should have been, I know he's a good player and it's the Super Bowl, but you know what? He didn't have any big plays in that game. The guy who got the winning touchdown, I don't even know his name. They didn't even have him up on the, they had the trophy. They were giving the trophy out. By the way, Larry Zonka, he's like a third of the size he used to be. And they gave the Lombardi trophy to Mahomes, who is the quarterback, who's an amazing player. Then they gave it to Travis Kelce, who had no big plays of that game. I know he's a good player, but he was out of it and screaming at the coach. The kid who got the winning touchdown, they didn't even talk about him. They were talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce the whole time. Meanwhile, the guy who got the winning touchdown, I don't even know his name because they didn't talk about him. They didn't even show him. I thought it was awful. Some young black guy, and he's a great player. I think his name starts with an H. But this is the perfect example of the young people's attitude towards authority. They have no respect, and they get away with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's how these young people are. And the way, when that guy yelled at his coach, it was all over Twitter. They're like, these young people have no respect for their elders or for authority. Could you imagine if Dan Marino screamed at Don Shula like that in the 80s? Oh, what do you think Don Shula would have done? The winningest coach in the NFL.
And knocked the clipboard out of his hands on television?
First of all, Dan Marino would never... Now, I've seen Dan Marino yell. Like I've told you, I've seen him yell at the players and say the F word many times because nobody could catch his throws. They would just slip. But I never saw him, and I watched almost every Dolphin game, scream at Shula or push him or shove him. Don Shula was probably one of the most respected. He was the most winning coach. He had a perfect season. Nobody's ever had that. Probably the most respected NFL coach in history of the NFL. Nobody would ever do that to him. And this guy let him push him around and did nothing about it. Because that's the way it is now. And these young people just get away with this.
And you know
crap.
what? And the reason he got away with it is because he's Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Yep.
If Taylor Swift were a decent person, she'd reprimand her own boyfriend for disrespecting the coach that way.
She went up to him and gave him a big kiss at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's probably that way with her parents.
Mm-hmm. Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
From author Patricia J. Marino comes a book that explores the American experience like never before. We Have All Been the Others, reflections of a first-generation's daughter on belonging, democracy, and a new American dream. Available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Drawing from the wisdom of her Sicilian-American father, former Detective Alexander Francis Marino, the author offers universal lessons that resonate with our current American landscape, from confronting hypocrisy to the pursuit of fairness. Each chapter unfolds a timeless truth. This unique memoir through history examines the original promise of America through the lens of the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the United States Constitution. We Have All Been the Others invites readers to re-envision a new America. In the words of Langston Hughes, let America be America again. Chapters include Laws Don't Always Equal Right, Call Out Hypocrisy, and Strive to Learn Toughness Through Adversity. Author Patricia J. Marino weaves personal stories with historical critical insights, exploring the concept of the other and the collective immigrant experience. With this must-read book, you'll embrace our shared heritage, understand our past, and build a more inclusive future. This book is perfect for book clubs and is also a great addition for teachers' classroom reading collection. Order your copy of We Have All Been the Others, Reflections of a First Generation's Daughter on Belonging, Democracy, and a New American Dream. Available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. How would you like to turn your social media presence into a thriving online income? You can learn how to do just that by visiting bit.ly/3 capital Q capital W A capital U 9N. That's bit.ly/3 capital Q capital W A capital U 9N. There you will learn how to create captivating short form content on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, and X. And you can do it all from the comfort of your home or anywhere in the world. All you need is a phone or a laptop. You'll learn everything step by step, even if you're a novice or a seasoned online creator. Transform your digital presence into an income. Visit bit.ly/3 capital Q capital W A capital U 9N. That's bit.ly/3 capital Q capital W A capital U 9N. And begin your journey to making online income. Your future as a successful content creator starts right now. bit.ly/3 capital Q capital W A capital U 9N. Fashionistas, it's time to redefine your wardrobe with fashion that speaks to your soul with VirtueVersatile.com. VirtueVersatile.com is your ultimate online destination for fashion that marries style with versatility. Their fashion is a declaration of your strength and your style and captures the very essence of the most modern trends. VirtueVersatile.com offer free shipping on all orders and on-time delivery. Their fashion and accessories will adapt to your lifestyle, whether you're channeling casual chic for the day or stepping into an elevated elegance for that special occasion. Their selection will align perfectly with any event and every woman. Unleash your style right now with VirtueVersatile.com. VirtueVersatile.com believe in empowering you with fashion that's as versatile and dynamic as you are. VirtueVersatile.com. Style that moves you. Fitness that defines you. VirtueVersatile.com. Start shopping right now. The new sci-fi novel from author Tony Travis is now available on Amazon. Keyholes. Keyholes is a journey of discovery. Meet Dr. Alan Messman and his brother Colonel Bryce Messman as they uncover a groundbreaking revelation, a mysterious portal influenced by quantum effects on photons. Join their team on a quest to unravel the secrets hidden behind the keyhole. What lies beyond? A passage to the past, an alternate world, or something beyond our wildest imaginations? Find out when you read Keyholes from author Tony Travis. Follow their journey as it challenges the very nature of reality, intertwining cosmic mysteries with a deep exploration of identity and existence. Every page is a gateway to another layer of mystery, leading to a climax that will leave you questioning the very fabric of our universe. Order your copy of Keyholes from author Tony Travis on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Keyholes from author Tony Travis on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Oh, yeah, I got some other feedback on a topic I talked about today. I don't mind critical feedback, criticisms from people in the audience. I don't mind. I get comments on YouTube. People send me DMs. I was about something I was talking about today on the radio show. And I'll just I don't want to have a whole discussion of it. I just want to recap what I was talking about and then tell you guys what I've been hearing from some people today. Biden had a major slip up yesterday with the King of Jordan. He didn't know where he was. He forgot where he was.
I saw that.
He was calling the Queen Rihanna, like the singer. He was looking for a prince. There's no prince. He's there with the king. The King of Jordan, by the way, is a Star Trek fan. He's on an episode of Star Trek Voyager in Starfleet uniform.
Wasn't Biden walking around saying, "Where am I? What am I doing?"
Pretty much. It was pretty much that bad. He was looking for the prince that wasn't there. And this is a follow-up to last week with the report and the press conference and all this stuff. And what I was talking about is Kamala Harris, and this is what I got response to. I said, Kamala Harris, if she called a press conference today, right now, and told the American people that in light of this report from Merrick Garland and the special counsel, the press conference, this event with the King of Jordan, and giving a couple examples of things that she's witnessed recently with Biden, the president's mental capacities have severely declined in recent weeks. I have seen this, and that. And I'm calling on the cabinet to join me in invoking the 25th Amendment. She would be president today.
If she had the votes.
Well, she's already got one vote, and that's Merrick Garland because he released the report.
Yeah.
And Jill Biden did something very, very stupid over the weekend. She had, and this has been reported, she had a flip out that the White House allowed Biden to have that press conference. I don't know where she was, but he's the president. What are they supposed to do? And she went around screaming at people around the White House. So she's alienated a lot of people. If Kamala, the press are after Biden's cognitive thing all weekend. Jon Stewart's debut, we spent 20 minutes going on about it. If Kamala Harris came out with a serious press conference and did that, I think she would have mass support behind her. She would be president that day. So, and what I was talking about is I don't understand why she has not done this.
I'll tell you why.
Well, let me get to this other thing first, okay? And then we'll get to that. No one in history has had the ability to snap their fingers and make themselves president before.
I mean, I would have done it by now for sure.
Vice presidents are nobodies. They're forgotten. The only vice presidents that you remember are the ones who were vice president when you were alive. And if you go back to the presidents before your time, start naming all the vice presidents in reverse from the current president, in reverse, okay? And not just the ones who went on to become president, okay? See how far back you get. You probably will have a difficult time once you get past Nixon when you're going in reverse.
Even the really famous presidents, like I know you know, but I don't know Lincoln's vice president or Washington. Washington's vice president? Was it?
He had Lincoln had two vice presidents. The second one was Andrew Johnson. The first one I can't remember his name, but they're all forgotten. Washington's vice president. Well, in Washington's time, it was different. Whoever lost became vice president. So it was Adams, and I can't remember the name of Lincoln's first vice president. I mean, this is how it is. I mean, they're all forgotten. So
John Adams also became president, and he was pretty famous with the the revolution and stuff.
And the
you know what I mean? But other vice presidents,
they're forgotten. Nobody knows who they are.
No.
So after this election, Kamala is done. Okay, she'll be some professor emeritus of law at Berkeley or something, where it's a fake job.
She'll be teaching classes with Brian Stelter.
She's going to be doing nothing, and if she made herself president by the 25th Amendment, there's a lot of pressure for Biden to drop out. She would become a historical figure.
Absolutely.
They would in the future they would put her on money. They would erect statues of her. She'd be the first female president, and she's a minority. And even if she says, I'm not going to run, I'm just going to finish out the term. So this is where I'm getting feedback from, okay, from people. I'm getting feedback from people all day who are saying, why are you telling them this, Brian? You're going to give them ideas.
Believe me, they know.
First of all, I don't believe in manifestation, which is what they're doing. They think if you say something or think it, you'll make it happen.
You have power over the universe.
If I had the power of manifestation, I'd be sitting here on the back porch with a pot of gold bars next to us, okay?
Right.
And so me thinking it or talking about it isn't going to make it happen. Other than that, though, Kamala Harris is thinking about it, okay? On yesterday's podcast, we were talking about that interview she did in the Wall Street Journal, where she says, I'm ready to serve as president. What Kamala Harris was doing was putting out feelers to see what the reaction would be to it. And she very well may be gathering things. But
here's what I think is happening.
This manifestation thing that people have on their mind is insane.
I think it's a few things. They are giving him, and I mean Biden, the chance to drop out. Clearly, they want him out, okay? The left is attacking him too much. So I think they're talking to him and his wife, and I'm telling you, he's not going to drop out. But they're giving him time to do it. That's not going to happen. So then they're going to think, then they got different plans in mind. Okay, they obviously don't want him to be the nominee and the person running against Trump. So if that doesn't work, then they might invoke then they have to invoke the 25th with her. So I don't think they want to do that because it's a bad look for the party. But that's why I think they're waiting, and they're going to wait and see what he does, and they're going to keep putting the pressure on him to drop out, but it's not going to work. There's no way his wife is going to let go of this, but the more they pressure him, the more stubborn he's going to become. Nobody tells Joe Biden. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Or
Jill.
So they're trying to get him to leave. It's not going to work. Then they're going to go to Plan B, which is the 25th Amendment. But they're either going to wait until right before the convention and do it then, because she's got to have those votes, and believe me, I think she'll have them. Or somebody else suggested in your comments, which I don't think would happen, but it was an interesting suggestion, that they're going to wait till Biden wins and then do it. But why would that even happen? Once he wins, he's in. He's not going to do that, so that wouldn't make sense.
They wouldn't do it before.
So it's going to be I think they're waiting for him to drop out, and it's not going to happen. So they're giving him that chance. They're giving him time, but believe me, they are putting pressure on this guy behind the scenes. You can tell because he's coming unglued, and I'm sure they're pressuring his wife more than anybody, because you got to get to her to get to him. She probably has him so insulated, and probably is like, you got to get to me to talk to him. And I'm sure they are talking to her multiple times to get him to drop out. Not going to happen. Yeah. Maybe they're offering them all kinds of stuff. I don't know. But let's see what he does. I don't think he'll do it. She might even want him to, and he might say, screw that, I'm not. And then they're going to do the 25th. But one thing is for sure, they definitely don't want him in there anymore.
Well, the thing with Biden...
And then, hold on, let me ask you, though. Say they do the 25th. Kamala clearly cannot win. So she would be president for a brief time.
Until Trump's inauguration.
Very historical. But who would they put in her place? Because
it could be anybody. It could be Gavin Newsom.
In the wings. They said
if I were her, I would not only would I do it, I would announce I'm not going to run. You're still president. She'll have that forever.
Oh, she couldn't win. No way.
And she'd be set. I mean, it's bizarre she's not doing it.
Even if it's just for one day.
Yeah, she'd still be president. She'd be the first female president. And if she did it now the thing with Biden, though, see, Biden, they may be waiting for him to crack more, because my belief with Biden is this, okay? We were talking about the slaves earlier, there's been a lot of writing back in the times of slavery, with the freed slaves, that when little kids were slaves, they didn't know they were slaves. And then there was this point in life when they would realize they were a slave, and it was like a big deal, right?
Yeah, because they didn't know any different.
Biden thought he was fooling everybody. And what this report did was, for the first time, Biden now knows that everybody knows he's out of it. Biden knows he is out of it, okay? He knows he's confused and stuff a lot. He thought he was fooling all of us. Like
I said, his wife keeps him very insulated, and I don't think they show him polls or anything.
And he did not realize that everyone knew that he is out of it. Now he knows everybody knows.
Well, he knows what everybody thinks of him, and I think that's shocking.
And what that does is it causes a lot of stress and anxiety. And when you have... See, I believe personally that Biden has Parkinson's. I don't know for a fact. I believe Biden has Parkinson's, which is what Michael J. Fox has. A lot of people that have Parkinson's have a history of drug or alcohol abuse, and I'm sure Biden was always a drinker.
Yeah, but does Parkinson's incapacitate you mentally like that?
Yeah, it can cause cognitive decline.
I think he has dementia.
And he has dementia. Well, there's a form of dementia that comes with Parkinson's.
So why Parkinson's? He doesn't shake or tremble.
He falls a lot. And and the loss of balance is a Parkinson's symptom. Mm-hmm. But anyway, whatever it is, he's got dementia. But when you have dementia like that, stress makes you more symptomatic, and he's going to have more
Absolutely.
and more incidents because he's afraid that everybody can tell that he's out of it. And this thing with the King of Jordan yesterday was really bad. Now, let me play this clip. This is Jean-Pierre today.
Another winner.
They asked her about Biden taking a cognitive test.
Does the White House think that the idea of the president taking a cognitive test as a part of this physical is a legitimate idea, particularly just on the heels of the special counsel report, more polling, as my colleague Selena just mentioned, showing that many American people have concerns about that?
Look, I got this question last week as well, and I'm just going to say what Dr. O'Connor, it's kind of what he said to me about a year ago when the report came out last year, obviously on his physical, which is the president proves every day how he operates.
Okay. So that's a no.
Whatever that means.
And apparently, he is the first president to refuse a cognitive test since cognitive tests have been part of regular medical practice. I don't know how long that's been, but they reported in the news he's the first president in history to refuse a cognitive test.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because they don't even have a doctor that'll fake it for him.
No.
Right? They can't even get a doctor to sign off on it. That means he's on his way out. There's a big move
for sure
to push him out. And
he's not going to go quietly, this guy.
Now, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much, guys. And, of course, those of you who are Patreon supporters have access on the Patreon page to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And the Patreon supporters, they do go and listen to the commercial-free editions of the shows, and you get them a little earlier because when I upload the podcast, I upload it to Patreon before it's elsewhere. So you get the podcast a little earlier, and it's commercial-free. So that's something that you Patreon supporters have access to. So I know a lot of you do listen to that, and take advantage of it because it's part of being a Patreon supporter. Plus, there's a lot of other content that Kathy and I post there that we post nowhere else that only Patreon supporters have access to. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, and our newest top Patreon supporter, George. Thank you all.
Yes,
and
thank you all the patrons.
And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this episode on whatever platform you are listening to us on. All right, guys, well, we are out of time for today. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.